Hello and welcome to Trenta, 30-something conversations with 30-somethings for 30-somethings and the 30-something else. Tonight, we're celebrating Pride Month with my dear friends, Rosie, Kraig, and Lloyd. Kraig and Lloyd have been on the show on the first and second episodes respectively, so thanks again, guys, for joining us again tonight.
Loyal customers.
Yes, thank you for being loyal customers. So, we are going to be talking about your experience being proud members of the LGBTQIA plus community. Oh, diba? That was a lot. So maybe ready for this episode, Beshies. So maybe we can start with a quick rundown of definitions. Maybe for those na first time to hear all these terms.
Wait, did we do ASL?
Oh yeah, thank you very much for reminding.
Something's wrong with our host. She's not very on brand and on script.
For reminding me that, kindly introduce yourselves with old school ASL. Maybe I'll start with Rosie because she's here on the show for the first time.
Ooh, so honored, Char.
Yay!
So I'm 31, female, identify as lesbian, and I live in London.
Lovely.
Hey.
Mabens?
31, male and gay, stuck in Siargao as usual.
Stuck in Siargao.
Lloydie?
Hi, I'm 31, male, identify as gay, and I live in Tokyo.
Ooh. Yay! So they were very specific with how they identify themselves as. So I think we'll start with SOGI. This is like an acronym that goes around a lot. SOGI, what does SOGI mean and how does it play out in relation to LGBTQIA+? Anyone?
Wait, let me search. Hindi ko familiar sa term. I'm not familiar with the term.
Okay.
What isn't that? Didn't we have this last on the chat? The SOGI term?
Yeah. So I researched.
SOGI. Is that what you mean?
SOGI, yeah.
Soju. Joke.
Soju. Korean SOGI, guys. Soju.
It's sexual orientation and gender identity.
Yes.
So how is that different from? So how is sexual orientation different from gender identity?
Okay. General question. Okay. I heard this like metaphor, like for people to easily understand it. It's like gender identity is who you are when you sleep at night, and gender expression. And sexual orientation is who you want to sleep with.
Right.
Yeah.
In a simple way. I don't know if.
So when you say that you're lesbian or you're gay, that's your gender identity. Is that correct?
Orientation.
No, that's orientation.
Sexual orientation. Your gender identity is male or female. Is that
no?
correct?
No. It's very broad actually. It's a perception. So you could be, let's say in this group, right? You are cisgender page, and your orientation is straight. So that means you are a female that's into men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and Kraig are both gay, which means we are attracted to men, but I'm not sure what Kraig's, I guess, is. But like for me, I would identify myself as a he or a him pronoun, so I would consider myself as a masculine gay guy.
Okay.
Some gays would consider themselves as would you say, Kraig, some gay guys don't even want to identify themselves as something, so they could be like gender binary, or they could be gender neutral. So you can be gay, which means you like to fuck or be fucked by men, but then how you identify yourself can actually be not in the same line as how you see yourself in bed. So you could be a bottom and you get fucked, but then in real life, you conceive yourself as
positions na Lloyd. Or like we were talking about Paige earlier niya, marag, like she was asking like, you know, the terms nga LGBTQIA, and it's more than just QIA. It extends more pa to other terms. And she was asking about, so dili na siya mutually exclusive, right? Like, and I said, yeah, like because there are terms that there are multiple terms, that spectrum that applies to you. So you can be gay and be trans. You can be gay and you can be straight and you're trans, right? Really, that's possible, right? If you transition. Yeah. So there's marag, it's like you pick terms you can use to identify yourself, but not just stuck on one term. Just because you're a lesbian, you can't be questioning or something, or binary. Yeah.
So LGBTQIA, those are the sexual orientations.
No, it's part of the SOGI spectrum, because transgender is there as well, and allies and stuff.
Yeah, and allies is also there, but trans is not sexual orientation, man. It's gender identity.
Transgender is a gender identity.
Okay.
Their gender is not. They want to change their gender. But their sexual orientation could be just the same as they were originally. Like if I were a female and I want to be a male and I'm attracted to the same male, to a male originally, kay female bi ako. So if I was originally attracted to a male, so I'm still straight in my sexual orientation-ish. But in my gender identity, I'm trans.
I get it.
I'll be a trans. If I will be a trans na, then I'll be gay, identify as gay. Well, it depends on you, actually. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Mona. And then, like, daghan pa jud kay na siya. Actually, not just like mga jokes about, like, LGBT. The terms nga gigamit sa mga acronyms sa LGBT, like, extends far, far, far more pag yun. Like, my gosh, ilan lang gi-shorten to LGBTQIA. That's why it's a plus. Because there's more to it.
I see. Speaking of labels, for you, do labels matter?
Like applying to yourself?
Yeah, to yourself.
I think there's I've noticed lang there's like a divide. Let's say millennial generation, there are labels, but there are options. But this is a younger and there's where they don't like labels. The younger Gen Z, they choose not to be referred to as conventional pronouns, or they want to refer like, or dili sila mo kuan to any label. But I personally like labels. It makes things easier, like dating stuff.
I see.
But maybe I guess the Gen Zs who don't prefer to have pronouns are the ones who are gender binary. So maybe there's a correlation that Gen Z-ers have a higher composition of gender binary or gender fluid people, and they're the ones who don't perceive to be, a him or a her or a they.
Yeah.
And then our generation is a lot more conservative, where even for me coming out or to you guys, like less than 10 years ago, that was a big step for me. But then I guess for the generation after us, coming out isn't even a thing. It's like, I don't need to come out. I am gender neutral, know?
Yeah.
So maybe
exactly.
it's that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird lang na we are calling ourselves conservative because we I don't know, stick to label.
Like if you think about it, we are so conservative. Like
Yeah,
I
of
came
course
out
you are.
so late. Oh my god.
Yeah.
We
And
struggled
also
with it. Not like,
and to
how the
add to like Paige's comment on like, you know, does it matter for you? I don't know with you guys, maybe for Rosie, because London's a lot more progressive and it's something that people talk about. Like living in Tokyo, people don't even talk about it. Like most of my friends are like cisgender, they're all straight. And they know I'm gay, but it's not like something that they want to engage in and discuss. For I feel like in London it's something that's very, very commonplace, right? Like, right? What for Rose? No?
Yeah, what's your experience been like, Rosie? Ever since you transferred to London?
I feel like a bit more confident in myself, or like I really accepted myself more. You know, identifying as, you know, who I am, because I was struggling with it for a long time. Like, but for other people, a label doesn't really matter as long as I'm in love or I have feelings for them. I'm not really in love with a gender. Just with a person that I believe in. But for me, I identify as, you know, I'm really attracted to the same sex. So more in that shock. But then when I came here, it's just so freeing to see other people and to be able to talk about it, and you know, it's just nice.
What about your coming out story? I'm not sure if I've really asked you guys in detail. I think we've touched on it in a few conversations, like one-on-one conversations, but I think I haven't heard the whole story, I guess, of your coming out. But first, going back to Lloyd's point earlier, at the point or during the time you came out, before that, did you feel the need to come out in the first place?
For me, initially, no. And I think if I did not come out, it would still be a no. And the reason is, even now and before, like, it's not like our friendships or the friends I have are Onawasi Kraig. It's so Paige, check out your
Kraig left the conversation. No, there's no.
You have to see your wait list.
There's no wait list here. He can just come in anytime. Okay, go.
I was saying, like, and I'm not sure what Rose's is, but in our group of friends, right? It's not like me being gay would have improved my chances of getting dates, because the reason why I would come out is so my friends can help me, you know, find people of the same orientation. But then I realized in the last 10 years I've been out, none of my fucking friends have ever introduced a date to me. So I don't think it would have made any difference coming out or not coming out, to be honest. Yeah, so it was more of a need because you guys pressured me to come out. It's not because I wanted to come out.
I didn't pressure you.
Oh yes, all of you are like
I think it was more of inting.
Kamu dyan anan.
So the first time you ever came out was to us and not to your other friends, or
did I come out to you, Paige, on the same night as Vic in Banaco?
No, I think inting was first. Then you gave me like a talk after a while.
Then I came out to my college friends first. Then yeah, third year uni.
And was that your only coming out time? Like,
yeah, it's super. Yeah, just two friends who. It makes sense, right? It's just really a small group of friends. I don't even think I came out like officially to Higalas as a group, right? It's more of like it just happened, you know?
Yeah.
Right? I don't even remember Rose's coming out story, and I'm not even sure if there was one. But I just knew at some point.
I remember coming out to you when I was here. Do you remember when I visited you with Ben? I told you about me.
No. But then I knew before that. No?
Knew before that, yeah. But not really like I told you that I am like this personally.
What's funny, Rose, was like at that night Ben came out to us.
Wow, nanglaglag pa mo other people, guys.
Well, he's out already and proud.
Yeah.
That was funny, right, Rose? That was super funny that evening. And we're again. Yeah. No. But I mean, like that was so recent, right? Like what, 3-4 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
I knew na ba before that, na you were, that you are your orientation. So it wasn't new to me, but it was something that we can officially talk about now. We're comfortable, but
It's
like
just something, coming out to people who's important to you. It's just something that's, a bit more touching because it's a part of you and you're telling it to them.
right.
What
Like,
was your coming out story, Hey?
Um,
Do you remember when? Recently lang pa, like
coming out to who?
the first time you ever came out.
Oh, I think it's with my college friends. But it not really like I came out. They just knew that I was in a relationship with a girl. And voila, they're just accepting of it. And then we just went with the flow and
There wasn't really like a whole serious talk na guys, I'm gonna come out to you, blah blah.
There wasn't. Yeah. It's just like they just asked me if like, are you in a relationship with this girl, and then I just said yeah.
Maybe sort of like Paige being the outsider of this whole community of not being straight. I think it's also a question of I get asked often, and like when you come out, but then I think coming out is not even like a moment, or it's not even like a point in time. It could be an intent or an emotion. What Rose was saying, like coming out for her, like to her and me in our friendship, that would be the dinner we had like 3-4 years ago, right? And I think I would even say I haven't come out to my family yet. So it's like, and they probably knew with chismes and all of these like gossip from the parents, but that isn't me coming out to them. And I think it goes back to what Rose was saying about, which I really relate to. Rose was saying it's a feeling of like, yeah, fine, you could be into the same sex, but then your orientation is more because you have someone to share that with, like having a girlfriend for you, and that for me is missing. There is no point for me to come out to most people because I'm single right now. It doesn't really change, I guess, like how people should treat me or how me and my family should treat each other. No, because I have it doesn't change anything. Hi, Kraig.
And Kraig is back. What about you, Vince? Did you have like a coming out story, quote unquote? Or when was the first time you told anyone about your being gay?
I never really had to come out technically because like everyone I knew, even pagkabata na ako, it's kind of obvious. But like admitting it to myself, maybe I remember that, and telling someone like using the term like I'm gay. Well, high school for sure nga to ko realize because all my crushes were guys.
Yeah, there's also a coming out story for yourself, like when you realize.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that also.
That's a better question.
I wanted to ask that too. When did you realize that you were gay or lesbian? When was that moment?
Wow.
I would say high school because of because at that point when I got into high school and nakamit na more people, you're exposed to more insight. And before high school, like I was masakot ko kung sumubo like bayot like ana. But pag out of high school, like why was masakot kung something nga true. So nga din na accept. Yeah, that's my internal coming out story.
What about you, Hey?
I think before I think grade school, I was like really having these crush because I was in an all girls school, and then so I had these crushes and then stuff. But I ignored it because more gani siya. Because all girls to me, so I admire you, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then when
Where ka Rose? STC ba ka?
Yeah, STC.
No, STC, right.
And then probably high school sad. Because it's like
Right?
a co and then I was exposed to like boys as well. So and then I don't know, it was just a feeling. There's just someone that I had a huge crush on, and then there was just there was just something there that I felt this is just not not right for me kay murag learn. Ano maganahan ako babae and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, muna siya girl moment. Maybe questioning.
Mm-hmm.
And then in college, that's when it all happened. Because I went into a relationship with a girl, like just like that.
How did that happen, bro? Was like, so before you went into that relationship, were you conscious about that this is what you wanted, or was it more like curiosity?
Yeah, I was kind of conscious already because I was struggling with it. Because I know gays are sort of common stereotype na marag okay ra ang mga bayad na
no.
accepted. Okay, or yeah, your friends with the bayad and okay ra. But when it comes to us, marag ang mga tao is like a bit icky about it and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I know. That's what I feel before.
Yeah.
And most of them feel so tomboy
right. A tomboy, like yeah, like the tomboy o bayot na stereotype, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and Paige is guilty of bullying me too.
Okay, no? Lloyd, yes, go.
Imagine a rose, like ang term
I will admit.
Yeah, so it's really, I mean, like more than Rose and Kraig, no? Paige knows me the most. Like we've gone like back in St. Benjamin, and then I don't know why they would tease me as bayot jud na murag. Like, don't you remember, Paige? It's really arbitrary, guys, because it's not like when you're like 10 or 7 na murag. There weren't like signs na murag. You know what, Kraig? I think he has Kraig. If you watch it in the mean, no. I thought it was a pensive look. Pensive look with Bruce. He freezes.
Right? I thought it was like listening intensively.
Yeah. Anyway, like, I don't know, like, people would tease Lanjun, and then, like, it's not like I was showing any very...
Yeah, you weren't flamboyant.
I wasn't flamboyant at all. I was just shy.
Yeah.
I was really just shy and nerdy. And... it's really weird no more people will tease you, and then at some point na confused you because it's like you know I think the same for Rose, but like I don't know what Rose thinks of what tomboy is growing up, but then guys, I do not want to be a parlorista. I mean, honestly, like I was like really scared, man, like back then. If I admit one day na bayot ko parlorista ko, and then like I would want to have like a boob job or like have long hair, and I'm like, gosh guys, I don't want to have a parlorista job because they don't earn any money. Like I swear, like I really had a very narrow idea. You can imagine, right? No internet. It wasn't in pop culture.
Yeah.
It's not like we knew about what's happening in the US. No, like I wasn't very educated with like I guess outside the Philippines, but I'm working. It's quite common.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because now you hear about like what is it called again, Rose? Stonewall. The bar is Stonewall, right? Like,
yeah,
that was like 87 or something in the 80s.
Oh, right?
And then it's like, fuck, I wasn't born when Stonewall happened. So it's like, if we only knew this much when we were growing up, I would be more accepting of myself. You know, I would be able to protect myself from bullies like Paige. You know, there's nothing wrong about being gay, and B, don't call me bayot, because like being bayot is not being gay. That is a stereotype that we should all break. But that's not something you knew back then. Somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. And I think because when we were kids, the only image of a gay man or a lesbian woman, the loud parlorista bayot, and then the tomboy is the butch type of tomboy.
Yes, and I'm scared to be like that as well.
Sorry. Rose, your hair. What happens to your hair if mabutch ka, Rose?
Right?
I'm so sorry to people who are listening to this podcast. We are not judging you and boxing you up if you look that way, but then this is a personal reflection of myself. It does not reflect how I think of others, but it's only purely for myself.
Because back then, we wouldn't imagine, say, a gay man who dresses like a real man to be gay, or like a woman who's super girly to be lesbian, right? Our image of gays and lesbians was really super limited, and I think because that was because of also because of the lack of access to information. So I think the new generation now have it. Would you say it's easier for them to cope with the internal conflict?
Yeah, they're a bit sort of lucky because they have all the access. They have all social media. They have influencers to look up to, actors and actresses, and
I think though, like, don't you think, Rose? This is my personal opinion. Imagine like you right now back in high school with the same information we have now. Isn't it so much pressure? The sort of like comparison you have now, what they have and what you don't. Much more than we were in Cebu back then. Now it's like, I wouldn't say primitive, but then the lack of mentorship, the lack of guidance, the lack of a movement, the lack of like, mentors or like people to sponsor who you are as a gay guy and a lesbian woman. It's something like commonplace in like San Francisco or like, but then for Cebu, no, bisag now, like I would probably be very depressed. So I'm actually going to answer the other way around. I would probably be suicidal, thinking that, this is me and I'm left alone with my very conservative religious family. And then and you have all this information and there's so many options out there for you that you don't have at all. So Murag, I don't know. I'll be very scared for myself if I was like 18 now. Maybe in London it's different, but like in Cebu.
Of course, it depends where you live.
Depends where you are, no? Yeah.
So did moving abroad help you express yourself more freely? Would you say?
Yeah, for me, I think not more freely, but yeah, I can express myself more freely. I mean, I'm not really scared of answering questions. Like if you answer me, or if you question me of who I am, or if I have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, I would just say I have a girlfriend. I mean, it's not something that I will hide. If I were in the Philippines or in Cebu, and like I would be pretending, because like stereotypical Filipino culture, everyone would always judge you, and here they just don't really care, or just they're just more open about it.
And back home, right? Like it's not that I'm judging. Maybe I am judging, but then when they ask you these questions, Rose, leading naman, you know what sort of conversation they want to get at. It's not curiosity, manggod, na like they really want to get to know you. It's like they've heard some gossip, and they want to just like get the deal, then like boom, it's out.
Confirmed.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's done.
That's true.
It's
that's
like,
true.
Charot, kuan ka di ay. You know what I mean? Okay, this is really, really, really judgy, and I'm sorry for the listeners, but then
Speaking of your experience, like so far, I mean before in the Philippines, or maybe in your life in general, what would you say was the most painful comment you received, or the lowest point in your life?
Sorry, Nihang kahi.
You were choppy the whole time.
Choppy kasi mong question.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Hindi pwede mag-host, oy.
My question was, what was the most painful comment you received from anyone? Or was there ever, or in more general terms, what was your lowest point coming to terms with discovering your sexual orientation and gender identity or gender identity?
Go, Rose.
Sige. Let me see. Siguro recently, I was kind of, not really kind of, I was really hurt. But about, I came out to my brother like 3 years ago. He was really accepting about it. And like, he met John already, and they're great together and stuff. And then I thought that he was just it was okay and like really proud of me and stuff, and he understood, but like unsagid ko and everything. But we were just having this random conversation, and then he was telling me na, oh, that's why you guys are together, you and John together, because you cannot find another man, or you both haven't found another man because you're just too used to each other.
Wait, how did your brother say that? Like, why did it come up even?
I don't know. We were just having this. I don't know. I forgot yun sa conversation. Basta nag-FaceTime ba, and then nag-talk about me sa mga ano to uyab maguro to, or mga past relationships. And then yan siya na kuan ra wala gyud ka kita og kanang wala gyud mo duha kita og mga laki na para sa inyo mo nang you're too used to each other, that's why you're together.
Shucks, grabe.
I have so many issues
was
with
this recent?
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago, I think.
I have so many issues with that comment, less about the commentary being against lesbians, but more as an anti-feminist.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
Like, I think it's more of a feminist issue for me than being a lesbian. It's like, who are you to say that women should be women when they find their man, right? Like you be your own person. So I think it's not ignorance about lesbian feeling, but more about the ignorance of like who a woman should be. Quite sad. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hurt lang ko to. I didn't really tell him because dili mo kay confrontation on the person. I'm just gonna go. I just changed my mood and sige mata na ko babay.
Oh.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about him about it, but we're like, hello, can we not be together because we love each other, not because of that?
Yeah.
Shit talking about.
I think you should have like said something, Rose.
Yeah, I should have. But
because like marang di magud ma-correct on like they will for them it's like okay, it's like an okay comment, like they don't really realize nga there's something wrong with it unless like sutian gid sila mismo.
Yeah, that's true.
It's such a snarky traditional tita comment.
Or it's so it's a manifestation of macho culture pa rin, diba?
Yeah. True.
What's your brother's background, Rose? Is he based in Cebu right now? Or like, what
he's in California, San Francisco.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's been there for like 20 years already.
What? So I would have expected, like being a progressive city, you'd be a lot more. Because I can imagine, siguro, if he was based in Cebu, then maybe, not saying I forgive, but then I guess their context of like what they encounter every day, it doesn't really give them enough exposure to this as a mindset, or as like be more progressive. But then the fact that he lives in San Francisco of all places. Wait, California, you said? San Francisco.
Yeah, California.
San Francisco.
California. But still, no.
Oh wait, San Francisco.
There, it's California. Like, I mean, if you can't get it there, then you don't get it anywhere. Yeah.
Anyway, I will talk to him about it soon.
Excited.
Yeah.
Update us niya, hey. What about you, Mabens?
What was the question, sorry?
What was the most painful comment you received, or the lowest point that you've undergone?
Oh my God, I'm just serious. I have a serious answer, pero I'll just light
go, Kraig. Be serious, Kraig. Be serious. Let's get there.
Di ko ganahan nga makakuan ni I don't want to how to explore this too much because like
go.
I think it has no in person, guys, in person over tequila siguro I'll share, but I'll just gloss over it now.
This will not happen soon. This is like so far away.
Exactly. So inana ko ka anyway. It's something to do with my dad yun. For sure. Because like growing up, kanang like I mentioned, like growing up, obviously siya, like I'm not really grabe jud kayo nga padung ko mabayad. Bayad jud ni kaning naongan. I hated all that. I di ko ganahan. I don't like playing. I don't like boxing. My dad loves boxing. I hate watching kana mga action movies. I hated it. And then my dad is very typical masculine ka. You grow up in like squatters area nga. You have to man up to survive. And, yeah. So I grew up gyud nga makahear og wa ko'y anak ka bayot. Or di ko kadawat inana kana I grew up to that. Then nabot sa point, especially pag high school, I think when like grabe na gid among conflict almost every day na or every other week, mag-away na gid me to the point nga ni-give up na ko like pinakawa. Like I remember the point, I think morning lowest point nga like mag-ura mi nag-confrontation ato and nisod lang sa akong head nga marag whatever you have to say from this point on, I will di jud na ako take to heart. And I think now it's still there, although like not as, pero like yeah, I think morning strain ng relationship from dad. Like I don't share things to him, and like kung nga siya isulti like palapos sa ginana ko sa pikas dunggan. So yeah, that's my thing.
What about you, Lloyd?
I think we discussed this page a lot. I'm happy to say that I haven't been hurt in my own personal journey to finding myself, but recently it's a lot more. They want you hurt. It's more of just like, how to say, like I'm confronting this reality, but so it's a dating app story. So when you go on an app, to the listeners who don't know, gay people go on the app. A lot of apps. It's easier that way because, as I said earlier, my friends don't have gay friends. So, like Paige has never introduced me to any potential gay guy ever in our 20 years of friendship. So, so you go on the app, right, and you would chat. And my app has no face. There's a profile, your general height, weight, blah blah. Maybe your Instagram. I have my food one, so nobody sees my face. Then you would chat, no? And then maybe like you would see a figure of like how they look like physically, like their body maybe. So you would chat, you would trade photos, face, body, whatever. Talk about like where you're from, what you do. So at some point you can tell that physically at least like there's a connection or like you would chat, you would murag di mo na siya siguro like killer or like, oh, he's very like smart on chat, very witty. So you would chat, blah, 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 blah. And at some point, which always happens to me, they would ask you, where are you from? And then when I would say Filipino, a lot of times I get blocked. And this is after you've shared photos, after you talked about like, a few conversations, after they've seen your specs. So what is the only reason why? What would be the only reason why they would have blocked you after all that when they figure out you were Filipino?
Racism.
And it's racism, basically. It is, or not even just racism, but sadly, and I'm sure Kraig would being also live overseas is relate to is sadly a big part of Filipino. I'm not sure if Rose knows this, but there's a very, very, very big part of Filipino gay men who probably live back home. They would change their location overseas, chat with people in that locality, or maybe like fool them into murag. I really don't know. But then there is a really big bad perception of like what a Filipino man is. And it's very hard to sort of like be in that demographic. And I mean, who listens to, it's only probably, hopefully, friends and family who listen to this podcast, so this will not leak out. But then
I've been sharing this to everyone.
Yes, I am currently a Hawaiian-Japanese mix because it makes my dating life online very, very much easier.
You can totally pass as one anyway.
Yeah, of course
Yes.
you can.
So like,
Lloyd, come on.
Hawaiian-Japanese, or I'm Okinawan with a little with some mixes. and then I will pretend to have a very light accent. You don't know where I'm coming from.
Yeah,
But
you
then,
should,
can I
you
just
should
share,
hear
guys?
Lloyd's
So,
different accents.
oh my god! So one time, guys, I said I forgot what my mix was, but I think it was like Japanese Peruvian or something like that. And then the guy I met, who I forgot to ask where he was from because he looked very Japanese, was Pinoy.
Oh my god.
Aww.
So
Jokes on you, Bash.
the entire night, he was like, he had a very questioning face. It's like, mura mo na siya Pinoy, pero mura di mo siya Pinoy siguro, okay? Mura mo siya Pinoy, pero... As in, like, I really, really saw it, and then, like...
Caught up in your own lies.
Yes.
You're catfishing.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a light touch to my saddest moments.
Lloyd, would you want to sleep with that person gihapon? Like, even if, like, kanang...
Yeah.
No, that's
like, it's
that's
like
a hard
filter
thing.
na
So,
noon, right?
so okay,
It's a
this is
filter.
another funny story. So, it came fresh right after one of these rejections, right? And we're like, fuck, there you go. I open myself up. I say I'm Filipino. I get blocked again. So like, fuck that. Fuck honesty. Let's go back to being Hawaiian. Yes, I was Hawaiian Japanese. Which is very exotic actually. And for some reason, the guy I matched was a Thai actor. And he was visiting, and we actually went on a date. And super guapo and all that. He came over, blah blah, but he was here for a few weeks. And I was like, come on, I cannot go on saying I'm Hawaiian Filipino Hawaiian Japanese for like forever, right?
Wow.
True.
And then like after like
What if it becomes serious?
So we met 3-4 times. We had dinner, and then we slept over, and then he went back home to Bangkok, but he wanted to stay in touch. And then I was like, I cannot do this. So over a video call when he was in Bangkok, I said that I'm actually not who I'm saying I was. And his guess was, he thought I was actually married with a wife. but then the answer was that I was Filipino. So I think in the end, he thought that it was less of a harm. But then I think people who would like, on the other end, right? They would think you're a psychopath. You're hiding who you are.
Yeah,
like, something must be wrong with you. So he probably like thought that I was like mental or a little bit like on the edge. So it faded away. But then I agree, Kraig. It has its own repercussions. Yeah, I know.
I think what you're doing is, I don't think it's bad, man. Pero at the end, Lloyd, it's marag mo apply ra na siya in situations where
it's a one-night stand
interaction. Exactly.
Yeah.
But because if you want to build a relationship, well, you can't base it on like something very like
which is why when I can vibe that the person would probably be a potential date, I would tell them that I'm my real self. But then on these cases, I sometimes get blocked. So it's like it is a thin line between, do I get blocked tonight or do I get laid? So it is.
Lloyd, it's okay to get blocked, Lloyd. Like that's part of growing up.
No, but it's okay to get blocked after. It's okay to get blocked after you send a photo, which means you're not a physical match. It's not okay. It's not okay to get blocked after you chatted the whole night and then you said you're Filipino and then they blocked you.
It's okay. It means you won't sleep with the racists.
Yeah.
I don't mind sleeping with the racists if they're hot, no? Honestly.
Fuck that.
Honestly.
Fuck that shit. No, Lloyd, no.
Lloyd,
you're all
more. Come on.
Lloyd, 13 na ta, Lloyd. 13 na ta, Lloyd. We cannot be compromising every time. Or not be compromising. Lowering our standards.
No, okay. My new theme now after this whole Corona lockdown is integrity and identity and pride and being yourself.
Nice.
Yeah. So sure. Let's go for it. I think
Coming off of Lloyd's point, or his experience, he shared his whole dating life with us, by the way.
Actually, basically,
I wanted to ask Rosie and Kraig, did you ever try to adjust yourself to someone you're trying to someone you're dating or trying to impress? Did you ever have to make, little white lies here and there just to just to make a connection with a certain person, like in your dating lives?
Si Kraig ba? I think nahang na siya.
Di na pensive way. Di na pensive look. May hanga siya.
Anyway, to answer your question, I haven't really dated around. Just jumped into a relationship.
Actually, you have.
I'm a long-term kind of person. And duha ka tao ako na date. And well, it always starts off with a friendship. So yeah, I don't really change who I am. It's just if you like me for who I am and we have the same feelings, then go for it. Like
go for it.
Yeah, I don't know if ever, and I hope not. If ever I'd be single and dating around, I would be scared AF as in I'm so torpe and all. Digid ko muduol og tao or sa ba and not create a conversation. But yeah, I don't know. It depends siguro. But yeah, I haven't really changed anything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, my next question is, well, Mabens, are you back?
Sorry, I'm back.
What about you, Mabens? Okay, before I go to my next question, what about you?
Yeah, I heard the question. I think initially, especially in my 20s, and I was like very promiscuous, just to get approval. Like, of course, just to you say say the things you think they want to hear and act this way and like this stuff, blah blah blah. But towards the end, especially sa part na dating na good, the couple of times that I really dated people more than a week or 2 weeks, I would say na parts na like the guy before Ben, let's say. Like I was nagity times na I feel like I was very much not compromising but ignoring things I shouldn't have ignored just because I like him, I like the person, or I want to make it work. But I don't think it has anything to do with being gay or being in a same-sex relationship. It's more to do with just in relationships in general, I would say.
That's true.
True.
Yeah.
So my next question is, with everything you've been through, is there a particular person who helped you find courage, or you leaned on for support in this whole journey of yours? Person or persons?
Personal. Someone, huh? Well, I was going.
So hard.
Can I start? I'll start. I think there's so many though. I think friends help for sure. I'd say, and then I think the acceptance part. I think mona ang most people have problems with. It's like it's hard to find people who will accept them, but acceptance for yourself was, I would say, the internet. Yeah, so yeah, that's my answer.
What about you, Hey?
Yeah, same. It's so many, but yeah, I think friends most importantly because I've like come out to friends my good in the first place. Then they've very accepting, and friendships are very hard to come by. And then what else? Yeah, the internet, social media. Also,
Yeah.
Also, like finding friends who are the same as me, like you, Kraig and Lloyd.
Aww.
Like, it's different good to talk about relationships in a heterosexual environment. Like it's more relate ba? Then also like I found friends here who are the same as me.
I-mute ka
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I-mute ko na siya, uy. I-mute siya, uy. Pwede mo siya i-mute.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute him nga.
Why?
Okay, there. Mabans?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's happening here?
What's wrong with me?
Huwag mo siya na-mute. Uy, nawala ang essence sa drama ni Rose.
I know,
Ito.
right?
Sorry, hey, okay. Padayon. I'm pressing
Wala
mute.
siya.
I can't mute him. Okay.
More tech
Yeah.
problems for you,
I
Beshi.
came here, like I found friends that said who are the same as me,
Mm-hmm.
same community. It's nice to find a community where you can talk about things that's not really generally talked about in general with common people, And yes, it just makes you more at ease. It makes you accept yourself more and be more confident. Yeah, that's nice.
What about you,
Yeah,
Lloyd?
that's all.
I don't know, but I think for me, like, your question page, right? Like, who, or like, who among, no?
Is there a particular person or persons?
No, I think it connects back to all my answers so far, Namurag. What's really weird and interesting is, I think you noticed this page is, hey, too. Anyway, so I don't know, like, Murag, at this stage, I've accepted myself for over 10 years now, Murag. It's not like we don't talk about like me being gay page, do we? We don't.
No.
Like, it's not something we even have to talk about. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, we can talk about like relationships, and then for me it's a gay context, for you it's a straight context.
That's true.
We talk about like hobbies, and then for me it's the grinder, for you it's other things. You know what I mean? So it's like it has reached that point. So maybe to answer your point, it's like the people I've met online, like the people who I meet, like the dates I meet. I think the motivation for me, like meeting all these people, going on dates and all that, is it reaffirms sort of like the me that I've been trying to build for myself. I don't think it's healthy na murag you have to get affirmation from somebody else, but I think being as Rose was saying, na murag somebody like you, it's like it's one thing for friends to say that it's okay, but it's another thing for a co-lesbian to say that it's okay, right? But then I think in Rosa's context, it's more like as a friend because she's in a relationship. But for me, because I'm single, it's people I fling with, I go date with. So it's like if somebody would tell me that you're all right, you're good, you're cool, it reaffirms the values that I wanted to instill in myself. So Murad, maybe it's not healthy to rely too much on affirmation from other people, but then it's helpful. It's helpful to a certain level. Yeah, I guess.
What would you say was your turning point, or was it a particular moment or a series of events that made you realize you were at peace with yourself?
Man, mine would be very superficial, but and to the listeners, don't judge me. But I don't know. I think it's more like I've always had that doubt growing up. Like, if you're gay, you'll be bayot na palarista, na you want to be like feminine, and and then I was like, fuck, I'm not gonna be that person. So I'm gonna work so hard to attract the kind of person I want to be. And then it's superficial to say that I've been judging myself based on the quality of men I've met, but I think But I think there is a certain merit to that. Namurag, it's probably it sounds really bad. Like it sounds really bad. Namurag, I'm measuring my measure of a gay guy with the men I've met, but then it helps build my self confidence. So I think when I reached a point, Namurag, it wasn't a problem to meet the right people, and you can find the right dates when you want them. When you want to, you realize that you're not too bad. You're doing okay in life. So I mean, it's a bit shallow and unhealthy, but I guess that's my own process. It's my own process.
You do you, Lloyd.
Right. No judgments. The listeners, no judgment.
Exactly.
Hi, Tita Jabel. Don't judge.
What about you, Mabens?
Kanang at I think wala, there's no one instance or one point in my life. It just siya gradually built up to it lang, I would say. So it's nag-adapt lang tanan niya. The people I've talked to about the same experiences and the things I consumed online and the experiences sa like, let's say, meeting. Yeah, kana, like with conversations ni Rose and conversations ni Lloyd, like they all added up, to like mara siya, it's either it helped me become more sure of myself or it steered me towards the right direction na I become more like self-assured na siguro, and like I didn't have to rely too much on external validation or compare myself to like how I should act, how I should be. Yeah.
You, hey.
Yeah, I think it's the same as Kraig. It's like a journey.
Yeah.
As Lloyd said, before katong yung beliefs na bayot parlorista. Ang beliefs na sa tomboy is like, what an isa sigera kay Davide. Whoever is a fan of Isa, my personal kuan before nahadlok sad ko. It was really a struggle before. Like there was a point in my life na I was praying to God, why would I have these feelings? Like
Lloyd.
Just to have these feelings go away. I just want to be normal. I want to, like boys. I want to be like that, But as time passes by, and then like people really accepted me, or they don't really mind, or they don't really care, because it's not me. It's just a part of who I am. It's not really a big deal, and then lang kanang then I just become more accepting of the situation na naging ako ang feelings. I can't really change it, and I just accepted it. Like that's me. And even if katong I was single for like a few years, and then akong preference yun is girls, and then it just geared into it na murag mo na gina siya. And
Rose, did you ever seriously date men?
No. I'm what you call
No.
Whoa, to you too.
Yes. No.
That is not my net. That's Mabenz's net na jud.
Kung si Kraig, on Rose's moment siya mo disrupt. The middle of the moment yun siya.
Grabe kayo yung mga voices.
Wait, Rose, what we were saying? Okay, you disrupt yung second moment. What if you're a lesbian na you've never dated a man? Na-term ba na?
Yeah, I forgot the term. It's an L word, but I forgot.
L word, yeah, it's a show, yeah.
Yeah, but not a show. Kind of helped.
Aww. Thanks, guys. It was so nice to, listen to your stories again, maybe more in depth. this time. And I think what we can get from hearing your stories is that, wow, I'm so proud of how you've practiced self-love, self-acceptance all these years. And it's so inspiring to, you know, listen to these stories again, because sometimes we forget. And I think it's also a good thing in a way that your sexual orientation doesn't come in the way of our friendship. Like when we talk, like what Lloyd said earlier, when we talk about relationships, it's not like bahala na ka what context you're gonna put it in, right? So yeah, thank you very much for being so open and sharing so much, Lloyd especially. Thanks for your time, guys, and happy Pride.
Happy Pride.